last video, we spoke about the importance of gut as far as our skin is concerned, and yet another vital aspect of human body is hair. And Janvi today is going to be throwing some light and insight about what is the importance and what role does our gut play as far as our hair condition is concerned. So over to you, Janvi. Please dig in and share all the insights.
Great. So hair does have a very, very vital role to play as far as gut health is concerned as well. And I think it's almost like saying that when the gut is okay as well, you'll see your hairs also healthy, because that's exactly why that's how they actually interact with each other. And the amazing part about this is that everything that we eat actually makes a difference to the way that our body reacts to it, be it our skin, be it our hair. But the most important part, more than even what you eat, what is important is what you absorb. So you could be eating everything in the day, which is maybe a balanced meal like complex carbohydrates, lean protein, good fats, all of that. But if you don't have the right level of absorption of the vital nutrients, micronutrients, macronutrients, you can absolutely see that there will be an issue with, maybe your skin, maybe your hair, or different maybe muscle issues, all of these together. Now, as far as this hair is concerned, we see that, the hair fall is actually what you see. A lot of people complain of hair fall around the year, right? It's a very common issue.
I think even after COVID.
Absolutely. After COVID, a lot of people have been complaining of hair fall, is also because obviously the body's gone through extreme amounts of stress. And when there's been extreme amount of stress and there's been high cortisol, there's also been alteration in the gut. So there is a lot more inflammation in the gut at that point as well. There could be leakiness of the gut as well, which has also led to the hair fall. Now, again, another very important aspect to keep in mind as far as hair fall is concerned is to ensure, obviously, you have adequate amount of good fats and lean protein, because we know that our hair is keratin as well, and skin is collagen and hair is keratin, and all of these are really important protein markers to keep in mind. It's like what you feed grows, right? So if you're feeding it the right balance, it will grow. But also it's important to see that often things we miss out looking at something like, for example, zinc deficiency. Zinc deficiency can cause hair fall as well. So zinc actually helps with DNA replication, which helps with hair growth as well. So a lot of times when people have had long-term issues with acid reflux, and they've been on PPIs, they've been on antacids for many years, they actually see that they have had bouts and bouts of hair fall that have happened, maybe not continuously, but they've kind of kept having this issue over a period of time chronically, because they have probably a low zinc and low ferritin levels.
Okay.
Low zinc and low ferritin levels are also a marker to see whether you have low stomach acid, which leads to your gut issues as well. But yes, they're very related. But that in turn as a byproduct can show as a hair fall issue as well. So that is something that you need to remember as a link. Also, what is important is to keep checking on your B12. Vitamin B12 and iron work together in a very important way. Also check, like I said, check just not your CBC levels, but also your ferritin and your TIBC markers, because they are very important as well. They're a whole window to look at your iron from a more detailed perspective, because you may think, okay, my hemoglobin is 12.8, I'm good to go. I don't need to really take supplementations, maybe for a woman or for a man, where they say, okay, I'm like a 13, 13.5, 14, that's enough for me. But I think the ferritin is your bank reserve of your iron. If your ferritin is really low, even if your hemoglobin is correct, you can still have excessive hair fall.
Okay.
Or even if your B12 is really low and your iron is correct, you can still have excessive hair fall. So that is one thing. So absorption of all of these, especially B12 and other things, happen from your large intestine. So for people who do have chronic inflammation in their gut because of maybe something like a inflammatory bowel disease, which is an autoimmune condition of the gut, like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's, they tend to keep having issues with B12. And they don't absorb B12 very well. So that leads to hair fall as well. Or people who have celiac disease, where they're strictly, they can't eat any form of gluten. They also do tend to have low ferritin and low vitamin B12, because they can't absorb that because of atrophy of the villi of the gut. You don't have enough of, B12 absorption. That again can lead to hair fall as well. So these are factors which go back to the gut, which are very important, like I said, about acidity and this as well. Another very important aspect that I'd like to talk about today again is autoimmune conditions directly related to the hair. So there is telogen effluvium, there is alopecia areata, which has become very common. Whereas, like, you literally see like a bunch of certain, the spots where you actually lose hair, bald patches, and that is again becoming increasingly common as well. So again, going to a trachologist or going to a dermat to probably take medication for it, and all of that is a great idea as well. But again, I go back to the same factor that you need to treat the gut, because alopecia or any autoimmune condition does not start in a day. That inflammation in the body has been over a period of time building up to the point where it's led to a point where you actually see that show up on your hair as well. So even having things like, for anybody who has alopecia as well, having collagen really helps as well. Having, like I said, probiotics helps. Also, you could try and add vitamin D3 is very, very important, because vitamin D3 plays a role. So the vitamin D3 and its metabolites, they actually play a very vital role in production of keratin in the body. So vitamin D3 is something we should check. Again, the range is very important. Often people say, okay, I'm at 25, I'm at 30, it's sufficient enough, it's fine. But actually, if you want your body to function well, and you want it to be like, so I'll give you a simple example. The body with vitamin D3 is very, very important. It's almost like a hormone, which is very important for your body. It's just not a vitamin. It has a role in pretty much everything in the body. So if you're going to only be at a 25 or 30, it's going to first prioritize the more important functions in the body for which the D3 is required. So ancillary functions like your hair and maybe your skin and other things get compromised, because that may not be the most important, because the body has to spread itself thin.
That's not so sufficient.
Absolutely. So having vitamin D3, which is about 60, 70, at least I think 70 would be good enough. And then checking your D3 levels would also be recommended for that particular reason. So you supplement till the time, again, vitamin D3 toxicity can also happen. So ensuring that you're having right amount of doses in the right balance is important as well. So for hair, essentially, like I said, that you want to try and have a lot of green leafy vegetables with some amount of vitamin C, like a lime and other things, so that you can absorb the iron from the food that you're eating. Also, very amazing options to have, like sunflower seeds. Pumpkin seeds are again great in zinc as well. An excellent natural source of that. Also, a very interesting fact that I've heard is, about oats. So people who are not intolerant to oats has something called silica in it. Okay, which is amazing for the hair as well. So if people can tolerate oats and they don't have any, digestive issues with oats, because oats has gliadin as well, and that could be, intolerance for some people, they can also try and incorporate oats at least 3 to 4 times in the week in their breakfast or in a smoothie, and also add a lot of antioxidants through the fruits you're eating. So having all different colored fruits, making your plate look like a rainbow is the best way to integrate all the kind of micronutrients that your hair and skin also need as well. So that's a great thing to also add. So like add some reds, add some yellows, make your plate look amazing. Like you feel like eating it also, and it's great because your body takes in some compound, different bioflavonoids, polyphenols are there in each one of these fruits and vegetables, and you can pick up, and each one of them have a role to play, and they help to integrate that as an absorption into your body as well, and for your hair as well. And last but not the least, I think it's very important again to check that when you're having hair issues over a period of time, chronically as well, you want to check for a fact again that you want to first ensure that you're seeing again a pattern of how the hair fall is happening. Are they happening in a certain season where you're not absorbing well, you're not eating too well? Like there are times when you're not having, in heat, people are feeling, you don't feel like eating a lot, so you don't have a lot of fiber, or a lot of people complain of this after, like, maybe in the rains. So you want to try and look at what are the patterns, what happens to your body as a whole where you have these bouts, because hair fall, some amount of hair fall, 3-4 strands, 5-6 strands you lose. If you lose like 20-30 strands, then you know that there is a 35-40 strands, then you know something is off. So again, figuring when your body is doing that, because there are always bouts, like there's a hair cycle as well, right? So you're not like the hair is kind of growing and there's a whole cycle to it. But when you if you're seeing there's too much of hair fall happening, look out for that. Again, get all your tests done, which we mentioned, like the ferritin and everything as well. And also then understand that what are you probably doing in your food at that time? How much is there a balance? Are you fighting an infection in the gut? Are you fighting something else? Have you just recovered from a cold or a cough? Have you just recovered from something else, which could have also caused the hair fall to happen? So that is extremely important as well. And once you figure a pattern, then you can actually work on integrating all these foods and supplementations backwards so that you can start healing your gut. And meanwhile, you'll also be able to see a difference in your hair.
Like healthy, luscious hair on its own.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, that is, I think, the way that everything starts in the gut. If you take care of what is within, it has to show outside.